Hello everybody. Today I have picked up a 25-pound box that's half a bushel of sauce tomatoes. So my day is going to be making sauce out of these tomatoes. Hope you enjoy watching and maybe you can make some for yourself. It turns out really nice. I have a recipe that I've been perfecting and it turns out pretty darn tasty. It also makes the air in the house smell so good. I also have some garden tomatoes that I've taken out of the garden. So that's about another 5 pounds. So it'll be about 30 pounds of tomatoes altogether. These are my tomatoes from my garden. Some of the work, you have to get your bottles ready. So these are not sterilized, obviously, but they've been cleaned and washed and lids replaced with new lids. These bottles I'm not going to use, I just have them sitting here because there's a smaller top and I prefer them for jam. But I do want some smaller bottles. I want to make some tomato sauce a little bit thicker and used as pizza sauce and stuff like that. So I have these 16-liter bottles and half-a-liter bottles. I'll be using a mill, a Starfrit mill from Canadian Tire. Of course, they're available at all kinds of stores. Starfrit mill. You'll see that in operation later. Some people that I've seen who make sauce with the mill don't peel their onions or anything like that. I don't believe in that because the outside layer of the onions plugs the mill and causes a lot of extra work. So you'll see how I like to do mine as we go. I have a recipe and I'll include that in the description. I've been touching it up so that it just tastes perfection. It just really nice flavors. And I'll be including that in the description for you. So the first step is to prepare 8 cups of chopped onions. They're going to be put into the mill. I've got to get at least the peels off. Otherwise, when you turn the mill, the peels block it up. So I have to at least get the peels off these onions. Otherwise, it blocks up the mill. Good for the compost. Not good for the mill. Not going to make you watch me cut up a whole 8 cups of onions. But I'll cut up one just to show you. Oh, and I'll cry a little bit. Sometimes onion does it to me, sometimes they don't. These are going to go through the mill, so it doesn't have to be that accurate on cutting them. Oh my goodness, he's watering away here. I know as people can say, oh, you should do it this way or that way, but I don't. It all affects me. There's a lot of onions. Another thing is the recipe is made for 25 pounds. And I'm not really going to add any extra because I have 30 pounds of tomatoes. After it gets rendered down, it's going to be really close anyway. I'm not going to change the recipe just for 5 pounds extra. I might toss in an extra half a cup of onion or something. Okay, you get the idea. I'm going to be chopping up 8 cups of onions. I'm going to just keep dumping them in this black pot just so I have them organized. So, I'll see you when I get my 8 cups. 4 cups chopped onions. Another 4 and maybe a half cups of onion. So the next thing I want is a fennel bulb. And hopefully 4 cups. However, that doesn't look like 4 cups to me. But anyway, it'll be close. I only want this one. I know you can cook with that fine stuff on it, but I don't do it for some reason. But you can. Perfectly edible. I'm just going to slice off the bottom thinly because I want all the fennel I can get. Pretty neat how they break apart. Okay. Now again, it doesn't have to be finely chopped if you're using a food mill, but it should be chopped, I think, because that allows the flavors to escape during the process. So I've got chunks like that big, you know. So when I'm finished chopping this, I'll show you how much I got out of 1 fennel bulb. Here's like, I don't know, like 5 cups at least of fennel chopped up. So that's it for this type of chopping for this sauce. I'll show you the next step. Hi, first step, I'm gonna put that chopped up fennel and chopped up onion in the big pot. Now, part of the process is to bring the water out of everything. Although I keep the water, of course, for now. So I'm going to sprinkle the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of sea salt. So I'm going to put that on top of the onions for now. The heat's not on yet. So I've got this nifty wooden spoon. You can use any wooden spoon you want, but I happen to kind of give it a stir, mix the salt up. I'm trying to get some water in the bottom. For when I do turn the heat on, I'll have a little bit of water to help get everything going. You'll see what I mean by that as we go on. So now, I just quick rinse these tomatoes, nothing special, slice them up, don't have to take the skins off or anything. If there's a blemish, you want to take the blemish off, obviously. You don't have to take the ends off, the stem ends. They'll come out in the process. Cut them in fairly small pieces, but you know, don't have to be too worry about it. I just give them a light rinse just in case there's dirt stuck together. I don't believe I have to wash them because they're going to be boiled. I just don't want dirt. So, I hope you can see what size chunks I'm putting in here. I guess it's cold water, so it's not, you know, not that bad for wasting water. So anyway, you don't need to watch me chop up all these tomatoes. So I'll bring you back in when the chopping is done. Done. All the tomatoes are in this pot, all chopped in half or quarters. I found one tomato that's really mushy feeling, and one I didn't like the look of the black spot. Two actually. So that's the only tomatoes I'm throwing away. I don't want any bad tomatoes. So I'm going to move it over to the stove now. I'm going to turn this stove on to number 2. It's just slightly off a minimum on the big burner. I could probably turn it on higher and we'd get done quicker, but this is not a regular stock pot. This is a pot, it's kind of a thin wall pot for sterilizing baby bottles and stuff. Much cheaper than the real heavy duty gauge pot, which is $350 right now. And I thought, so seems like a lot of money for something I'm going to do just once a year. So at this moment, they're awful full. I might a little bit here. I'm going to squish down. And all that's going to do is hopefully squirt some more juice onto the bottom of the pot. Because the juice is going to hopefully boil. I shouldn't say that. The juice is going to boil. And it's going to slowly cook all these tomatoes and onions and everything. So that's the first step. I'm just going to leave it for now. I'll give it maybe 5 minutes. And I'll do some more in 5 minutes. 5 minutes has passed. It's 12 o'clock now. Try and keep this stuff moving near the bottom. You don't want it to burn. And minutes after, 12:10. It is 12:20. You can smell the onions now. Can't see them yet. They're in there though. It's 12:30 now. Onions are coming up now. That's great. There's more liquid. I know some people wonder, why don't you take a blender, one of those handheld blenders that go into the pot? I have one, but I don't use it for this, because I don't want to pulverize all those seeds, and that's going to leave a bitter taste in the sauce. All the tomato seeds. And I don't want to pulverize the skin, the same reason. I just want the tomato sauce, and you'll see as we go. Anyway. $12.45 now. You can feel the water in the pot hot, not hot, very warm. The stuff that I'm stirring off the bottom. So far I feel nothing burned to the bottom. So that's all working good. All you gotta do is make sure the heat's low, which it is, and stir it. It is 1 o'clock. I'm not going to say Eastern Standard Time or anything because it's just plain 1 o'clock. Just trying to show you how long it's taken. We started at 5 to 12. I just stuck my hand into there and it's getting fairly hot now. Won't be long, you'll see some bubbles, boiling bubbles. Still nothing stuck to the bottom, which really pleases me. It's doing what it's supposed to. I can turn it now. Whoops, making a mess too. Anyway, It's 1 o'clock. Actually, it's not, I'm sorry. It's 1:10. Well, I think I can safely turn it up to like 2.5. It's more like 3, 4, yeah, about 3. See what that does. What we're trying to achieve here is to cook these tomatoes and the onions and the fennel bulbs. Cook it all. And when everything's cooked, we'll run it through the mill, which will discard all the tomatoes skins and it'll be a while more though. It's 1:20. It's getting a little bit of foam on it. The water's getting hot to the touch. Foam's from boiling. Looking good. 1:30. That's all mixing together just fine, just beautiful. $1.50. It's coming along nice. I think in about 15 minutes or so, I'll be ready to mill it. It's 2:15 now. Oh, it's foaming up nice. I believe it's done, ready for milling. Like, it's not cooked all the way, but that's happening next. Right now we're just gonna mill it. So I'm gonna move that over to the counter. So that's gonna be my little setup. I have a bowl to put the excess junk in. It's gonna be hot, so I'm gonna move slow here. Just gonna show you one. So you take that sludge, so you take a spoonful of that. I'm going to put 2 spoonfuls in. And the mill sits over a pot, and you just turn that handle. once in a while you can go backwards. Turn, turn, turn. This blade here is raised up on that side, so the stuff goes under the blade, and this blade rubs against the I don't know what you call it, the cone with the holes in it, kind of mushing it in there, mills it. This is the point where I'm saying, if the onion skins were still on, it would really plug up quickly. Just knocking it off the sides. So once that's just take that out and put it in a bowl. So there's that much like stuff that there's hardly any water in it, any juice. It's just seeds and pulp. So the food goes underneath here and it pushes against the holes in that mesh. And this is what we're looking for. I don't know if you can see that. Nice tomato juice. So I'm going to continue milling. It's probably going to take me an hour to mill that at least, and it's hot, so I'm going to be careful I don't get burned. So I'll let you know when I'm done that milling. Just wanted to say this pot's so much smaller than this pot, so when this gets too much in it, this black one, I'm going to put that into like my canning pot. That's another big pot. Just temporarily while I do the process. In the end, it's all going to end up back in this stainless steel pot. Just milled juice. Well, there's the result of milling. Majority of seeds are gone. There's probably a few floating around there, little ones, but yeah, majority's gone. Majority of the skins are gone. Excuse me. The skins are all gone. I took out 3 of these bowls of stuff. Like that's our onions and our fennel. The tomato skins. So now you're putting the pot on the stove and spicing it. It's the next step. Did I tell you it took 2 hours to produce this and remove, mill out all the tomato skins and seeds. So our tomato juice, onions, fennel, this is the result, this juice. It doesn't really have spices in it yet, just those. I've got it turned on number 2 so it can slowly come to a boil. I don't want to burn it, that's why it's on a low heat, because of the pot. So the first spice is, let's see, we got 25 pounds of tomatoes, yep, 30 actually. Onions, fennel, basil. We're putting 4 tablespoons of basil. I'm going to put slightly heaping because we have that extra 5 pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 6 teaspoons of parsley. I know it's not a real measuring spoon, but they're very close. So if you notice, I put a slight bit more parsley also. 1.5 teaspoons of sage. Four teaspoons of oregano. Remember, this is all in the recipe too. That's included in the description. That's 3. Did I say 4? Yeah, I said 4. I'll put in one more. So I have this grinder, and my rosemary has to be ground. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of rosemary in the grinder. And there's my rosemary. 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. 1 teaspoon fennel seed, ground. So I have to use my grinder again. 1 teaspoon fennel seed. 1 teaspoon of anise. I already put the 3 tablespoons of sea salt at the beginning of the process on top of the onion. 12 ounces of tomato paste. Kind of like thickens it up and gives it an extra burst of color and flavor. Just use a good quality. He went through all his work so far. So I'm using Primal. He went through all his work. No use putting in cheap stuff. Two tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2, now a little bit for good luck. 1/2 cup of brown sugar, so that's 1/4 cup. Two heaping teaspoons of garlic. Maybe a bit more for the extra. The USDA recommended to put 1/2 cup of lemon juice for this amount of tomatoes. It's like a preservative. It makes it last longer. We have tomatoes, onion, fennel, basil, parsley, sage, oregano, rosemary, thyme, fennel seed, anise seed, sea salt, tomato paste, olive oil, brown sugar, and garlic, and lemon juice. So now, just gotta leave it like that. I'm gonna stir it in, of course. And then bring it to a boil, leave it all come together for maybe an hour. The tomatoes are already cooked. Fennel's cooked. It's just to get everything to blend in. All the flavors. So I'm going to I'm going to bring you back when I'm stirring it or something, a little bit down the road. Right now it smells really nice, but I don't think you want to sit here and watch it boil. See you later. So the tomato sauce is all mixed up with the spices and it's tasting quite nice. Looking pretty good too. But now I want to render it down 1/4. So I measured it and it's 9 inches from the bottom of the pot to the top. So 1/4 would be 2.25 inches down from where it is now. So currently it is 2 inches. So I got to take it down 4.25 inches, 4.25 inches, if I can. Let's see. Don't want to make it too thick, but it can go down a ways. I got to bring it to a boil and not burn it. Remember, I talked about the thin pot. Anyway, I'll keep you in the loop on how it's going. Gonna scoop off some of this foam. Don't know why, I just feel like it. I always figured foam can't be good. Going down slow, but going down. It's 10:30 at night now. It's only down a bit over an inch, maybe 1.5 inches. But I think that's enough. It's thick. I think I'm going to fill up 7 bottles, the big ones, and what's ever left over, maybe I'll try and thicken it a bit more by reducing it. But for now, that's just something really nice about it. But I'm not going to bottle it tonight, it's too late. See ya. Good morning. Our sauce has sat there all night on the stove. I moved it over to the counter now where we're going to be bottling it. You can see it's down 4 to 4 inches, which means that it's maybe slightly less than 4% reduced. So you can see where it's down like to 4 inches, which means I was looking to try and get it down to 4.25 inches or something. So it's just slightly less than reducing it 4%. All that means is the flavor's stronger, the sauce is thicker. So now I've got, well, I'm going to set you up on a tripod. So we can put 7 bottles in our pot. And that's how much we can can at one time with the water bath canning. So I need to sterilize 7 bottles. But I don't like putting my hands near the boiling water. So I just tip them like that and fill them full of water and stand them up. upside down. Like steam gets to much hotter. Steam gets much hotter than boiling water. So any air left in the bottle will be steamed. But you want to try and get some water in the bottle and just makes them stand up better. Now this last one you see, I don't have water in it. I'm just going to set it there. But you'll see when we remove the bottles that they're going to be full of water in that. Or some water in there. But it's the steam, remember, that's going to sterilize. So then, just going to put the cover on. Crank her up to maximum. And let it come to a boil. So the bottles have been sterilizing in this pot. You can see how hot they are and the steam rising. So basically, be very careful. Try and get your grips over the bottom of the bottle. Carry it over to the counter where you're working. Now they're going to be on their side. I hope you can see me. I'm using the grip to grip the top and stand them up. You don't want to touch them. They're really, really, really hot. And then repeat the process. Just take your time because they're really, really, really hot. Lay them down. Grab them by the neck. Stand them up. Okay, I'm going to repeat that process and over and get all the bottles out of my pot here. Oh, this boiling water. And I'll see you when that's all done. So I didn't tell you, but I just finished throwing the lids into that pot of boiling water. So sometimes the last bottle in the pot falls over and it's hard to get a grip onto it. Just take your time. You can find some spot to grip it. Take your time, don't get burned. Now all the bottles, the 7 bottles are here. And I'm just going to dip into our pot. You're going to fill the bottles up to like ½ an inch from the top. Some people say leave up to the bottom of the spout, but that's maybe 3/4 inch, an inch. I want like ½ an inch. Make sure to clean the tops off. If a little piece of food or something is food, clean the tops off. If a little piece of tomato or something is on the edge, it'll cause the seal to break and air will get in, and your bottle of tomatoes will go bad over time. So you want to make sure you clean them off really good. It's not necessarily the whole threads and everything of the bottle, just the edge where the rubber seal goes. Have this little magnet so I can reach down in the water and grab the lids. Just put them finger tight, not super tight, because when the bottles go into the water bath, you want the air to come out of them. If you don't leave them a little, not loose, but just finger tight, then the bottle could break from the pressure buildup inside. Okay, they're all feel nicely snug to me. They're all filled, ready to go into the bath. Now right now I have the burner turned off. It is not boiling, but the water is still hot. So I don't want to risk the bottles breaking at this point when you're putting a reasonably cold bottle into hot water. It doesn't happen often, but it is a possibility that the bottle would shatter. So I don't fill her up all the way yet. It's the same water used for the sterilization. So it's pretty hot still. So I've turned the burner back onto max, but you gotta have like an inch of water above the bottles, whatever you can get. Like my pot wouldn't allow me to put an inch, so I can put 3/4 of an inch. So I put much more, it's gonna come over on the burner. Now I know you should cover it, but you just can't. If I cover that, completely cover that, then the water starts bubbling over the edge on top of my stove and makes a terrible mess. And I even had to pull my stove out last time so I could clean the floor, right? So if you leave the lid like that, it's just going to come to a boil. And that's all you want, is bring the water to a boil. And now you got to leave it. I'm going to go around 45 minutes. Theoretically, I don't have to because I just finished boiling the sauce. But anyway, you should, by the standards, the canning standards, run it for like 45 minutes. And then you can remove them. So I'm going to come back after 45 minutes of boiling. Now remember, they're not boiling yet. So I'm going to wait till the first bubbles come up. And at that point in time, start timing it. Not from now, because it's not really boiling yet. Wait till the water gets bubbles up and then start the timer, 45 minutes. As you can see, the water started to boil now. So Start timing. It's been 45 minutes. Turn the burner off. Start moving these babies. Have to remember to remove that. So here's the bottles sitting in the counter. 7 of them, got to cool. I snugged up the lids a little bit extra just to make sure they're turned. I'll put the sauce back in the stove to see if I can reduce it a little bit more. It's about 7 inches down, so we'll see if we can bring it down to 6 or something. Leave the lid a little bit loose, otherwise it won't evaporate. Well, the sauce has been boiling for a little over 2 hours now. Now down to 8 inches. So that's enough for me. I think, oh, and one more thing. As you can see, it's pretty thick. So I'm gonna bottle it. It's enough. I managed to fit in 8 bottles of the half-liter bottles. I'm just gonna let them come to a boil and sterilize, and then I'll be ready to fill them. Well, it's been 10 minutes of boiling away here. Steam fixed me on that one. So anyway, they're boiling, they're bubbling, they're sterilized. I'm going to move them over to the counter as we did with the bigger bottles and start filling them. I put all the lids and everything in the boiling water to sterilize them now. All the half-liter bottles are out waiting for me to fill them. Now these 8 half-liter bottles are in the pot. I'm gonna start water bathing them. Well, folks, that's 45 minutes. These half-liter jars have been bubbling away here. So I'm going to remove them all from the pot, put them here, let them cool a bit. I am happy you watched till the end. I hope this video will help you with your tomato canning. It would really help my channel if you have not subscribed yet. Please subscribe and click like. Have a great day.